Welcome, welcome. This is Gull Khan, your money mindset expert. And today we're talking about self-image and your ability to be successful. Well, the connection between image, self-image, and success, to be honest. And I know I have spoken about this previously in one of the older episodes, but I thought it's something that needs to be revisited and it needs to be spoken about a little bit more. And the reminder came to me when I was revisiting a book that I read years ago. It's called Cybernetics by Maxwell Watts. A fantastic book. If you haven't read it, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go and read that. And there's an audio version of that as well, books. If you like audiobooks, if you like Audible, then go and get it from there too. But I highly recommend you do read that. And so when I was revisiting, and actually I was revisiting through the audio book, I haven't read the physical book, even though it sits on my shelf and I have a copy of it, of course, and highlighted and so forth. But I was revisiting and I was listening to the audio version of the book. And it was interesting to see the correlation between the things that Maxwell Watts has spoken about your self-image and how that is completely entangled with your ability to be successful. Now, why is that? In my own personal life, so we give an example of my life. There are certain aspects of my life that still need work. Of course they do. And there are certain aspects which have come very far and still this requires work, but I've come a lot further along. And when I was listening to, the certain topics about it, I realized how true this was. Now, I'm not a big believer of falsely or artificially thinking positive about certain things. I do believe that your core beliefs need to be cleared out. Hence, I do energy clearings and I work on that, and we get phenomenal results for people because of it. And this is something that of my speciality, that I'm able to create that sort of container, of environment where you are able to, where I'm able to sort of clear out the old limited beliefs and ideas about yourselves, which helps to create a better self-image. And I've incorporated this into my practice in terms of my teachings and, all aspects of what we do, especially when it comes to manifestation. And, when I talk about creating the manifestation roadmap, which we do is, when people come and join my mastermind, we do this, something called a manifestation roadmap, where I give you exercises to do morning and evening and throughout the day, which reinforce this idea of what it is that you want and what you're capable of and so forth. Now, it all comes back to self-image, and it's so important. So I think this book is amazing, but I think there is a missing piece, and that's where I come in with the energy clearings. It just means your results are a lot more faster than they are if you just do the exercise in the book alone. But the book is full of gold nuggets. It's such an amazing book, and this is why I'm highly recommending you read it if you have not read it. But the idea is, you cannot get more success than the idea that you have about yourself. Basically, your self-image dictates the level of success, the kind of money, the kind of life that you will allow yourself to live. And anything beyond it, you will create what's called self-sabotage, and you will not allow yourself to experience life beyond your self-image. And this is so, so important. I talk about it in terms of the identity, what you're identifying with. And I gave this example that my self-image became entangled with the idea of a single mother, and all the things are all the technicalities, all the characteristics of single mother I embodied when I became a single mother, first of all, including living off welfare, not having any money and whatever, irrespective of the fact that I had, I was qualified in 3 jurisdictions as a lawyer and a quite competent, throughout my academic record and experience. Yet I fulfilled all the check boxes for a single mother living on welfare, in London and down in a very poor part of London too. So the idea that you can go and live beyond what your self-image is or what you think or feel about yourself is a complete falsity. So it's not that you can give me all the excuses in the world. Oh, but the world is crashing down. I've lost my job, or my husband left me, or wife left me, and I have kids, and I have this, and I have no one. And I can tell you right now, these are all excuses. Whatever you're experiencing on the outside is being dictated about what's going on in the inside. And this is why I always say we need to work from the inside out. And one of the first points we have to work on is your self-image. Now, it's not as easy as it's people led to believe. You can just imagine your way and image your way into having a higher, better version of yourself. I think things go a bit deeper than that. You have to clear your limiting beliefs about what's possible for you. And these are subconscious beliefs. These are not beliefs that you would consciously adhere to. And some of them you actually are, when people hear about the beliefs and when they become aware of certain limiting beliefs, they're very shocked to themselves. They, I don't believe that. I didn't believe money could be the root of evil. I believe money means freedom. Because I have this, when I ask these questions from people, what does money, what does money mean to you? What do you think money is? Or how do you feel when you think about money? And a lot of these people who've read all these books say to me, oh, money means freedom, and money means this, and money means that, and have all these positive thoughts and ideas about money. And I turn around and say to them, well, if that was the true inner feeling about money, then money would be there in black and white in your bank account. Money doesn't choice no matter. If you are feeling positive about money and you really do believe that money means all those X, Y, and Z, then money would be showing up in your bank account very, very clearly. If it's not, that means you have other hidden beliefs about money, which is pushing money away, quite frankly, right? So this is where the contrast comes in terms of what we desire, what we think we desire, what we think we believe, and what we actually believe. And also there's a big contrast in terms of what we think we can get and what we feel we should get. Let me repeat that. That's such a profound statement. I'm going to repeat it. There's usually a big contrast between what we think what we can get and between that and what we feel we should get, what we feel we're able to get. There's a big contrast in that. And until you bridge the gap between the two, you're going to be literally chasing your tail. You'll create self-sabotage scenarios. And a lot of the time, these self-sabotage scenarios seem really out of your control. They're from the external world. Your business partner goes, does something behind your back, or your personal relationships fall apart, or your health falls apart, or your child becomes sick, or your mother becomes sick, or something else happens. There's always a genuine excuse. There's always a genuine reason why you're not achieving the success that you're supposed to achieve. But I'm here to sort of hold you accountable and say, you're attracting all these scenarios to yourself because it doesn't match with the inner imagery of who you are, what you're allowed to have, and what you're capable of doing. Let's do another example. I know that a lot of people who are very, very capable, and this is one thing that I specialize in, when people are very, very capable of having a six-figure, multi-six-figure, or even seven-figure businesses. And the reason why they have all these scenarios happen, and sometimes they self-sabotage, sometimes they recognize the self-sabotage, and sometimes they have all these excuses from the outside, and they don't understand what they could possibly do anything else, and what are they doing wrong, because they're not achieving the kind of level of success they should be achieving. Now, I've seen this time and time again. This is when you feel you should get one thing and you think you should get another. So you consciously think about, okay, I should be making six figures or multi-six figures if I follow this strategy by this guru, and I follow this by having this and do these Facebook ads and face to this and all these strategies, then I should have a certain amount of money coming into my bank account every single month, and annually this is the amount of money I should make. That's what your logical conscious mind is thinking. Then your subconscious mind goes in the other way and thinks, I can't do that. I'm not able to do that. And this way, the actual doubt comes in, and I always say this, your subconscious mind is not there to create self-sabotage. It's just trying to keep hold of status quo. If you, in your deep core beliefs, don't believe that you as a person should make six figures in your business, even though you make six figures in your corporate job, someone like you is able to make money of six figures or above in a job, but not in your own business, because people like you don't have a successful business, then you will keep yourself small and you'll make sure your business never crosses six figures, right? Or if you're used to making six figures, which is, jumping from six figures from a job to six figures in a business is pretty easy, to be honest. I've seen most people across that bridge pretty easily. It's jumping from six to multi-six to seven figures, which seems to be the bigger jump, because that is when you have to embody this new identity. So I know that I faced this myself in my business. So because I was used to earning six figures in my corporate job, getting to six figures was pretty straightforward once I had cleared my box and I was able to get money in. But hitting multi-six and then getting into seven figures was harder, even though that seems to be counterintuitive. It's more difficult to set the business up, but then to scale up, it should be relatively easy, right? No, because what holds you back is your self-image and your true self-image, which is deep within your core, inner self. It's not what your conscious mind is thinking, it's what your subconscious mind is thinking. So we have to retrain our subconscious mind about how we think and feel about ourselves and our capabilities and what we should receive, what we can receive. And unfortunately, with all this artificial positive thinking that a lot of people go ahead and do, you never address the core wounds. You never address the core limiting beliefs and ideas about yourself. And because you don't reprogram your subconscious mind, you get stuck in the rut and it seems like you're chasing a tail. And it feels like you've been running and running and running and chasing a tail and running, and you can hit a glass ceiling and you can't cross that glass ceiling. And it really dawned on me that this is what exactly happened to me a while ago. And this idea that, I'm always striving and never arriving was such a core wound with myself, because I wanted to become a seven-figure earner. I wanted to become this, having this time freedom and so forth, but it wasn't allowed for people like me. I had to struggle with money. That was one of my core wounds. Okay. Otherwise I didn't deserve money. Now, when I sort of worked on that, and I worked on my self-image, that I can actually I can be fabulously rich, and I can have money coming to me with ease and grace, and I can be doing 20 hours a week and making 100K a month. When I worked on my self-image to be someone who could do that, who was allowed to do that, things started flowing to me. And that is when I recognized it's not the strategy. And of course, you have to do some work, but it's not the strategy. It's not the business. It's not the people around you. It's not the teams which are important. The very first thing you need to work on, and this is why most people who are successful, who talks about this, they will tell you that your mindset is 80% of the game. But they also miss the thing. They want to talk about mindset. What do you mean by mindset? When I talk about mindset, I'm talking about your self-image, your core beliefs, your core ideas of who you are, what you can do, and what you're allowed to do. Now, I don't want to hear what your conscious mind is saying. Well, I'm capable. I've had a six-figure job. I can make a six-figure business. I can have a seven-figure business. I'm just as clever as everybody else. That's your conscious ego mind talking. I'm not interested in listening to your conscious ego mind. I'm interested in thinking about and listening to your subconscious inner child, who doesn't believe that seven figures is possible for them, who doesn't believe that working 10 hours a week and making $1 million a month is possible for them. The conscious aspect to you can say, well, I can do this strategy and I can do that, and I can flip some coins and I can do this, and I can flip some properties and make $1 million a month. Whereas your subconscious mind saying you can work 100 hours a week and you still not achieve that, right? Because your self-image is not allowing you to get to that level. So today's episode is all about making sure that you are truthful to yourself. And this is not something that you talk to me about, not something you have to talk to your guru about. This is something that you have to talk to yourself about in the mirror. And I'm going to recommend you do the following exercise. Everyone listen to this episode, please go ahead and do the following exercise. So I'm going to ask you to connect to the light. Now, if you've been through any of my trainings, you'll know how to connect to the light. And if you're listening to this because people do listen to this on when they are doing this via, the commuting or they're driving, I'm not going to connect you to the light right now, because whenever we do, it lowers your brain waves, and I'm very conscious of the fact that, I don't want you to get personally, I don't want you to get hurt. And so therefore my disclaimer is I'm not going to tell you how to connect to the light, but if you've been to any of my free trainings, and if you don't have any of my free trainings, go ahead and, check those out. You can even go to my website, abundancemindsetmakeover.com, and register for the workshop. We show you exactly how to cut cord and do all sorts of clearings and connect to the lights, do that. And anyway, so you connect to the light from above and below, the way I've shown you in a number of my other trainings. I'm not going to do that here on the podcast. It's not safe. And then I want you to, once you're connected from above and below, then I want you to look in the mirror and be very truthful, and start talking to your higher self and see what comes out. So I believe this, I think this, I have that, I think this, and see what comes out. Now, this is one way when you talk to the person in the mirror. And so be honest and truthful to yourself. What do you feel about what's possible for you? And don't feel that, you're saying negative things, you're going to put negative things in the world. This is an exercise for you to become fully aware of what is your limiting belief, what's your core beliefs. So figure it out. Speak to your higher self and see, okay, what am I doing? What do I feel about myself? Do I honestly feel I can get to 7 figures? If not, why not? What holds me back? What am I afraid of? What is possible? What's the maximum that I can do? What do I feel about myself? This is one technique. And I think this is a better technique. The second one is what I've recommended a number of other times. Again, you connect from above and below, connect to the light from above and below. And then I want you to get a piece of paper out and get a pen and put timer on the phone for 5 minutes and then just write out, what do I feel? And you'll get to a point about 2 or 3 minutes into the writing, you literally get to the juicy stuff, when that's when your subconscious mind comes out and starts talking. And then the point to remember here is you cannot stop any time duration. When you're writing, your pen does not come off the paper. You just continuously write. So when you write, your conscious mind only has so much it can write in the first couple of minutes. Thereafter, your subconscious mind takes over, and what comes out on paper is actually your subconscious thinking. That would give you a true indication of what you feel about yourself and where you are right now. And you can do this specifically for a particular task. You can say, okay, my goal is to make 100K a year if you're still working on 6 figures, or my goal is to make 50K a month if you're working on multi 6 figures, or my goal is to make 90K if you're working on 7 figures a year, right? So pick a number that you're working on at the moment and then write about it. I can make, or I can't make, whatever. It doesn't really matter about the choice of the question you write. You can write, I cannot work, I cannot make 60K a year or 60K a month, or I'm struggling with, I still have not made 90K a month because, or I will make 90K because. And what you find is, even if you phrase it positively, you start writing towards the middle. And once your subconscious mind takes over, you start automatically going into the negative mode. Why you can't do it? Why is it? Where is it coming from? Etc. etc. Okay, that will give you a true indication of where you are right now as to why it is that you're not able to make the 50K a month or 100K a month or whatever is your target. And this is important for you to know first, because that will show and highlight your limiting beliefs, true limiting beliefs about yourself. Then you go ahead and eliminate those through various techniques. And if you come to me, and if you become part of I think you're unable to come into my mastermind unless you've been through a workshop. So the workshop is essential. So you have to go through the workshop before you can come into the mastermind. So if you have been through my workshop, then you'll understand. If you come into the mastermind, we give you a step-by-step methodology of how to do it. But you can pick up my book and you can read through those in the 7 Laws of Money too, in terms of how to overcome certain things. But the idea is, whatever limiting beliefs have come through on this piece of paper, or you hear yourself say when you're talking to yourself in the mirror, those are the beliefs you have to work on first. Remember, you do the inner work first, and the external reality changes after. You have to work on your inner self before your external world will change. And this is my recommendation to you. I keep drumming about this again and again and again, but this is important. We live in a land of opportunities at the moment, and it doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. Also new things are coming up, NFTs, and with all the crypto coin, rise of the crypto coin and blockchain, and especially with this metaverse and NFT. There's so much money to be made, but you will create self-sabotage throughout. You go through the cycle of boom and bust again and again. You may make the money because you're in alignment with the right time, the right place, the right pay, with the right people. But what you find is a lot of people do this. They make the money and then lose the money, and they can't figure out why they're doing that. They're in the cycle of boom and bust. And that keeps a lot of people trapped because your self-image is not up to the level where you can keep that kind of money. You may make that kind of money, but you can't keep it. And before you can keep it, you have to have the image of someone who can be wealthy, who's able to keep that kind of money, have that kind of money in the bank account, right? This is why this exercise is so important. Do the exercise in the mirror or do the exercise via paper, but then become aware of what it is that's holding you back. And then use some kind of methodology. My favorite is energy clearings, and clear those blocks. If you are someone who's interested, I highly recommend that you come into, if you haven't been through my Abundance Mindset Makeover workshop, then do come along to that. And it's a 5-day workshop, and it's such a low nominal fee with so many bonuses thrown in for good measure. We made it completely a no-brainer for this reason, that we have to charge. And I'm totally against giving free stuff, because there's no exchange of energy. So when you pay even a small amount, you've exchanged energies, therefore you're able to receive more. Go into the workshop, and that will get you on the path of getting started with with understanding how to cut cords with people and the ideas and beliefs, and how to even how do energy clearings work. Otherwise, I'm not the only one. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm using this podcast as a way for you to come into my workshop and my things. There are so many other healers out there. I do say healing, energy work is very, very subjective. Two people and two energy healers could have exact amount of power, exact amount kind of ability, but when you go to them, you'll resonate more with one person's energy than the other. It doesn't make the energy healers any less capable than each other. It just means you resonate with one healer's energy more than the others, and it's perfectly fine. That's like having going to doctors. They may be equally qualified, but you may resonate more and connect more with one doctor compared to the other, and therefore you go and get the healing from that particular doctor. Same scenario here. So there's no hard feelings, and there are plenty of energy healers out there now. They're amazing, and they've been trained, and they're all wonderful. I would recommend find an energy healer who can help you get rapid results. You can do it yourself, but it's a lot slower. But you can find an energy healer who can do it. It would be literally difference between night and day, and you can get to your ideas and accomplish your goals at rapid speed. Anyway, so this is my little bit of advice to you, and I hope you do this exercise either if you're driving or walking at the moment. Go home and do this on your as soon as you get home. But I do recommend you, and you can do both as well. You can even do the written exercise and do the mirror exercise and see if there's a difference between that two. More likely than not, in one of them, maybe one of them comes out as positive, and the other one you should really get to the core levels and deep levels and realize, oh, these are my core limiting beliefs about myself or my capabilities or what I'm able to achieve. Either way, you figure something out, right? All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have, do leave us a thumbs up. In terms of thumbs up, do leave us a positive review. And if you do, we do come back and check upon those. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.